Hello, my lovelies. How are you today? In today's episode, we are going to talk about cleaning your tarot cards, when you might want to do it, a couple different ways you can do it, and what the benefits of cleaning your tarot cards are. Hey, if you haven't been here before, I'm Nicole from Grey Rose Games, and I am going to be helping you out. If you are a brand new beginner, you are totally in the right place. So the deck we're going to be using today is just a standard Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. And I tend to do a lot of videos with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck because it's one of the most common decks, and many decks, particularly in the United States, are based on those. So when might you want to clean your cards? Let's look at that first. Did you get a brand new deck? There's nothing wrong with doing a cleaning right out of the gate to knock off any energy that is from a person that is either a non-believer or a skeptic or has very negative energy that might have been involved in the production, the packing, the shipping. Just knock all of that off, because this is going to be your friend, your guide, your tool to talk to your inner intuition, your wisdom, and that part of you that is connected to the eternal. So you might want to do a cleaning if you have done a reading for a client or they have touched the cards. You might want to go ahead and dust that energy right off and just focus on making your connection strong again with your cards, so it is not being interfered with by anybody who might have touched or handled the cards. Some people like to do a cleaning if a card falls to the ground. They might want to do a cleaning just to clear off that energy. You might do a cleaning if you yourself were extremely emotional when you asked your last query, because strong emotions were channeling through your deck. You might want to knock that energy off because you're calmer now. And so that's one way to get rid of those old stagnant energies out of your deck. Suppose somebody gave you the deck. It's a complete gift. Whether it's firsthand or secondhand, you might want to clean off any energy that might be residually clinging to that deck. Now, I know this is a little bit woo-woo, but that's okay. We're going to keep going on. If it doesn't work for you, if it doesn't resonate with you, then just discard it. There is no one single right way to do the tarot, because it is an intuitive system and it is going to deliver the perfect message for you. So another reason you might want to clean the deck is if it has been very precise. You framed a good question and all of a sudden it just seems very imprecise. Now, I do think you should journal when you get answers like that, because sometimes the messages make more sense in the morning. You don't make the connection. You're amped up when you're doing your reading. You really want to have guidance and it makes no sense. Wait on it a day, see what you get, and if it still doesn't make sense and you do another reading, preferably not asking the exact same question, which I think is a bad practice to do, and you're still getting very unclear messages that don't make much sense, you might want to clean your deck. Clean your deck of those old energies. I also think if you have done a large party atmosphere, it's not necessarily that people have touched it, but there's just a lot of energy flowing around because there's been a lot of people. That's a good time to clean. So let's talk about the different ways that you can clean a tarot card deck. And I think that cleaning your deck regularly is important. So one of the things that you can do to clean a deck is to just reorder the cards. If the cards are a mess, reorder them. I think that's one of the ways that you can get that energy flowing the correct direction again, get rid of stagnant energy, reorder the deck. There we go. Now, this particular deck is the deck that I learned on. I started doing tarot when I was a kid. I had very liberal parents and they were not concerned. I'm sure it was something that I picked up from one of their parties and just was fascinated with it. And they were just like, whatevs, they didn't care. And I found a real calling to it. I felt like it really spoke to me in a way that I couldn't let go. And by the time I was 11, I was always an artistic kid, and I was like, hey, I'm going to design my own tarot deck. And that seemed like an easy thing to do when I first thought about it, but when I really got into it, it was not an easy thing to do. And I ultimately abandoned that idea because I was like, yeah, that's a lot like work. Now it's funny because when I turned 50, I decided that I was going to do a tarot deck of my own. I had been a professional artist at that point all my adult life. I am a tattoo artist, if you can't tell from the many tattoos. So art has been something that I have developed my whole life. I've always been an award-winning artist. I've always been a published artist. I started selling my art when I was very young. And so that's always been the way that I've made a living. And I thought it would be great to share my love of tarot through design. If you happen to want to see what I did, you can hop over to grayrosegames.com and check it out. But reordering your deck is definitely a good way to go. Now, the way I designed my deck was by suit. I personally put the wands first because they are fire and that's the lightest element. I do the cups second because they are the second lightest element in alchemy. And then I do the swords, which are air, the third lightest element. And finally, I end with pentacles, which are the heaviest element, according to alchemy. I have seen a lot of people order their decks differently than that, but that's the way I was taught, and so that's the way I do it. And these particular cards, it's just a standard Rider-Waite deck, Rider-Waite-Smith deck. You can get them on Amazon if you like. There will be a link in the description. They're pretty cheap. They are, I think, somewhere around $13, $14. So this is probably the cheapest deck that you could possibly hope to find. It does come with a small little white booklet, the standard LWB. Now, these are not great cards. They're entry-level cards. If you don't know if you're going to like the tarot, entry-level cards are fine, because if you don't like it, it's not a huge loss. $13, most of us can burn $13. You know, if you buy a deck like mine or a higher end deck that's very expensive, that's say $85, and you don't like the tarot, well then you're stuck. $85 is a lot different than $13, at least in my world. $85 is for reals. So you might want to start with a cheaper deck. Now, the negative to cheap decks is that they are poorly constructed. This is just basically paper. I mean, not that all decks aren't on some level paper, but this is such a thin, flimsy type of paper. It is not going to hold up well at all in the long term. So that might be a compromise that you're willing to make if you don't want to invest a lot. Okay, so back to cleaning the cards. I am rambling. One of the ways that you can clean your cards, besides reordering them, is to spend time specifically in meditation, thinking calmly about washing away the old energy and inviting the breath of life, your breath of life, into the cards. And I think that breathing on the cards, breathing your breath of life with the intention to bring fresh energy into your deck is one of the quickest and easiest ways to clean your deck. But it is not the only way. You can also do kind of what I was taught to be an old folk tale about cleaning your deck, which is to knock 3 times on the cards so that it's knocking out those stagnant, negative, old energies and nothing is clinging to your deck. So knocking on the cards is a good way. You can charge them and clean them by the light of the full moon. Spread them out on a dry, safe windowsill, and you can clean them and cleanse them in that way. You can take your cards and you can put them in a Ziploc bag for protection, and then put that Ziploc bag into a larger bag, like say you have a sandwich bag and a gallon-sized bag, and fill the larger bag with salt and a little bit of incense from the last time you burned it. And you can store it that way, and the salt and the ash will help draw away the negative energy. You can clean them by smudging them with sage, or another medicinal herb that is pleasing to you if you are not sensitive to scent or smoke. If you're sensitive to scent or smoke, that is a bad plan for you because it can irritate you if you have respiratory conditions like asthma. You can pass your cards at a safe distance through the smoke of a candle, and it works very similarly to the smoke of incense, but is generally more forgiving to those that are sensitive to scent if it's an unscented candle. You can use Reiki to pull bad energy, negative, stagnant energy out, and to breathe in positive energy. And of course, the other thing that you can do is to simply do a very calm fan across your altar and meditate on a clear, neutral position for your cards to be in. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, you know what to do. It's YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. I will be with you yet again with another tarot tip video. Thanks, guys.